Well, I just want to go through the latest problems. Obviously it's September I think it's the 21st today. Right, obviously, as you can hear, the loud bike issue is extremely bad. It's the 22nd, sorry. I just want to give you an update on a few things, because it's been quite nasty at the moment. So, loud bikes to erections, or timing loud bikes into my directions has been very bad. People mistaking me as Sven or actually giving me threats under my proper name, Justin, is getting nasty. There's someone down Digby Road, or Stibby Road. It's down just as you go out towards Yeovil, going towards Ilchester. But there's a young couple. They're only young, and one of them is getting nasty with me because he thinks I'm Sven and saying I'm a rapist, and they're going to be beaten to fucking death or shot dead, and said they landed your fucking foot right into it, you sick cunt, and just digging like that, basically since I was on the bus. So obviously I didn't realise he was filming me and photographing me, and he continued to do this and saying that's right, I got a picture, I got him all over my camera. He was saying that the bastard's dead, he's fucking going, he's gone. And considering he's only a young chap, I mean he's only about 18 and his missus is only about roughly the same age and they got a child, you know. So I'm a little bit fucking annoyed by that. All in all, yesterday was very bad at Langport because what was happening is literally everybody were fucking threatening to smash my fucking teeth in, bash me across the fucking road, take my fucking arms and legs off and break all my fucking fingers off, calling me a rapist, child beater, woman rapist, child rapist, you fucking name it. Just absolutely getting nasty. There's always sexuality, and as I mentioned many times before, I don't need to keep on mentioning this, I've not had anyone in my whole life. I've been too unlucky to have sex with a fucking sexual female. Everyone stopped me getting anyone. In the days when I should have been with someone, everyone were in a relationship, and the smartphone network has made it impossible. Even on dating sites, people were saying, do I know you, and stuff like that, and that you're not in my smartphone friends list, and that they meant to be in that you, and saying that you're meant to be in a sexual relationship since you were at school, and saying if you left school and there's no one single, it's too late. So their fucking minds are fucking crooked and small-minded and bent. There's nothing you can do about it. And because of my age, 43, they're moaning about the age gap, telling me I'm a sick cunt if I don't fancy anyone over the age of 40. Even people 20 years younger are threatening to smash me to fucking pieces, bash me across the road. And yet they're with single teenagers that are 18 years of age, making them single mothers, yet I'm known as a sick cunt if I don't fancy an old granny. So that makes everyone a sick bastard who's actually telling me I'm sick, because I haven't had no one. I'm innocent, but there's nothing you can do about it. Their minds are screwed, they want me fucking hit off, they want me dead. There's been many people that photographed me yesterday, and even a female aged about 18 told me I was a fucking lunatic, with a hard fucking chap, the type that's similar to looking to the person who wanted to attack me in Bridgewater in April 2022, who threatened to smash my head in and knife me onto the fucking railway track, and thinking I'm Sven, and he filmed me in the end of the days when I sort of escaped him in Bridgewater when he met up pretending to be a single woman, young woman. So that was the end of that. What's the next thing I need to mention? One of the neighbours is okay with me at the moment, but things have changed. I haven't had too much burning either lately, but there's been 15 minutes here and there, which is I've been speaking to this neighbour in a logical way, so I haven't been accusing him or anybody else of doing it or being energy weapons or whatever. I've just been talking rational and saying I don't know what's causing it, because I don't. But what's happened is yesterday I had some serious phone calls I wanted to do to family members. In the end I phoned one family member, and I did actually say in the garden when we were speaking in the communal garden that when you go to Tesco's I'm going to pop out for a walk to speak to my mum. And he was assuming I was going to Tesco's with him, or he said he wanted to go Tesco's on his own or something like that. When he came back from Tesco's, he got in a bit of an unhappy mood. So he texted me around about just before 3 o'clock in the morning, just to find out what time I'm going to bed, and saying, well, can you give me some idea, or when are you going to bed, and that sort of stuff. And I thought, that's an unusual question to ask. So he got a little bit unhappy. I don't know if it's part of his problem or whether it's just not in a very happy mood, going through some sort of hard times maybe. I haven't got a clue what it is, but he was not very happy with me. It could be because he had a bit of a drink. I mean, I'm not going to accuse him, because obviously it could be just, he's not he got a bit of he says he's got no depression, but it could be anything. So he had a bit of a disagreement with me and saying I don't want to speak to you, and saying that I was causing banging, and he said it woke him up. well, I wasn't actually banging. And if we go back to the days Matty was there, it was a lot louder than me opening my door, letting it close, and then obviously it's the fire door mainly that closes, and just me walking up and down the steps basically. That's the only noise I made, just like normal. But unfortunately he thinks, or he wanted to make the suggestion that I was banging when I wasn't, so I was a bit annoyed by that. Because obviously I told him straight that I haven't been any banging. I said it's probably you're hearing things louder or something. I said I haven't been banging. I mean, there's a possibility that someone could have been banging in the time period I was outside, but sometimes you can hear it outside if it's real hard banging, and I didn't hear any banging when I was outside either, because I went to speak to another neighbour. Because obviously I was not very happy with being accused of that, because I wasn't really banging as such. However, not long after that is when the burning sensation started, so there's a bit of burning in the early hours, so I was feeling a bit ill. I'm not accusing him, I'm not accusing anybody of doing it, I'm just saying it's thus I started to get the burning again. So everything was okay until about 2:30 in the afternoon. There's a bit of burning, very mild, it's sort of, it's there, it's not, it's you know, it's making me a bit ill, but come 2:30, the burning started to occur basically here and there right through really, and it's made me so bad that I've had to actually go for another walk to get out of there to try and recover, because your body can only take so much, and you can just sense it, you can just feel that if it goes any further, whatever's causing it, you're going to you're going to have to end up in an ambulance, or you're going to end up really ill. And I thought to myself, if your body's feeling to a point, your body can tell you when you're feeling in a situation where it's not safe. And unfortunately, whatever was causing it, I'm not accusing people of causing it or whatever, but it could be just a natural thing. But whatever was causing it, today has made me very, very ill once again. And quite literally, come 4 o'clock, I was burning pretty bad, and by 5 o'clock, well, it wasn't even 5. Yeah, I can't remember actually. No, I went in the communal garden a couple of times, sorry, to get away from it, and then it got sort of really bad. So it got too bad for me to stay there. I mean, your body needs rest from it. It can't take it, you see. It's making you ill, and obviously, I don't want to have to end up going into hospital or A&E, because obviously when I go there, they put it down to schizophrenia, which I'm not happy about. There's something that's causing it, and I don't know what's causing it. Whether it's a health problem or whether it's being caused by someone, I don't know. But whatever was causing it has made me very, very ill, and obviously I've had to go out because of it. As far as the weather goes, I made a documentary about yesterday's weather and filmed it, because there's a lot of problems, and I did actually lose my temper at times, because obviously people were starting on me. But it's sexual grounds, that's the problem. They're really getting nasty about it. They want to tell me that they're taking my life, going to smash me across the fucking road, rip my fucking arms and legs off, fucking put a knife in my heart, fucking smash my fucking brains out, and all the rest of it. And I was getting a little bit agitated about it. And the problem is, although these people are 20 years younger than me, they're fucking hard built, you know, they're built like anything, and there's nothing I can do about it. So, as far as yesterday goes, it was blue skies and sunny, basically, for about roughly 15 minutes. Yet, they did not predict that on the weather forecast. So, how's today been anyway? Shall we go on to today? Most of the day has been blue skies and sunshine. There's been about an hour, roughly an hour, of very bright, patchy white cloud with blue skies and a bit of sun cover. And about roughly 45 minutes of heavy rain with grey cloud. Sometimes that rains with white cloud. And that's it. The rest of the day's clear and sunny. There was one other thing that I want to quickly mention, and that is roughly 3 to 4 o'clock. There was bacon crisp smells or beef smells, which could just be food, you know, but worth mentioning. I want to mention something about the Bible actually for a minute. Just thought of it. I went to church, you see, this evening, because obviously sometimes I go to church. I'm not a Christian or anything like that. I'm interested in the Bible and some of the stuff that is being mentioned, and this evening it was Revelation chapter 19. Basically, there's a section in there that says that all the prostitutes in the world would be destroyed or whatever, and that they should have no right to be on the earth. But if that's the case, this lost manuscript, which claims that Jesus Christ was in a sexual relationship with Mary Magdalene, who's a prostitute, is very interesting, because that would go against what it says in the Bible in Revelation 19. So there's one or two things that you can work this on. It depends if you want to look at it in a negative way or a positive way. Jesus may have known Mary Magdalene, but not as far as sexual relationships go or cleansing her for her prostitution. The other alternative could be just that. But if it was just that, then that means Jesus would have sinned, and Jesus never sinned. So this is very confusing. It depends which way you want to look at it, and it's worth mentioning. I just want to make a quick documentary with it. I know it's interrupting with the problems of today's problems, or the next lot of problems I might include in this video for tomorrow. I'm not sure yet. It depends if I go back in time to put it on the internet. But what I'm going to discuss is 90s music. Music like the electronica, the underground stuff from the 1990s and stuff like that. If we look at Trans-Europe Express, which has some quite deep tracks on the CD, especially Textures Volume 4, Trans-Europe Express Volume 4. Skylab versus Deluxe, there's a track called Twister. You've also got Deadstock, Octarine, DJ Crystal, Crystallized, that's actually a jungle track, but all the other tracks are like, whereas they put it down as drum and bass, but obviously jungle was slightly different to drum and bass, and I refer to this as jungle. When music has the aim and break, which is like a snare drum over a heavy ultra bass line, and usually extremely soulful with sometimes reggae influences, then that's jungle. If it's got more of a punch to it, or hard kick to it, in a type of way, then that's drum and bass. As far as jungle is concerned, when it comes to old school jungle, the aim and break is what's used in it, and it was very first used in hip hop, in the earliest of hip hop tracks. NWA Straight Outta Compton is one of them, where they used the aim and break. If you speed that aim and break up, that's how they made most jungle tracks, but there are other breaks where they sped up records as well, such as the think break and other breaks. And then obviously mix it with heavy bass lines and slow down records or warp tunes to make underground music. With techno it's slightly different. They were using other people's music, because up until the 2nd of May 1997 they could freely use other people's music before the copyright law came in, which occurred on the 2nd of May 1997, where you had to pay for copyrighted material. And because DJs weren't exactly rich, or producers making underground music, they had to change their style of music and create their own sounds, and making new melodies, new pads, you know, different sounds or whatever. So basically, but let me just give you a bit of history about the aim and break. In 1969, Gregory Coleman, who's one of the people in the band that does the track The Winstons, which is a Northern Soul record. It's called The Winstons. Came out in 1969 and is well known for the track called Colour Him Father. On the B-side of that track there's a 6-second drum solo which is in a tune called Aim and Brother. Now the idea of Aim and Brother is a Christian, means it's a Christian track. So when they use this aim and break in jungle and hip hop, they're actually using a track that comes from a religious background, from a religious idea called Aim and Brother. And obviously on the A side, as I mentioned, the track is called Colour Him Father. So when you're listening to all this underground jungle or hip hop or whatever has the aim and break used in it, it's actually coming from a track that's Christian based, from the Christian religion, which means it's a Jesus Christ type of track in some ways, that's being mixed in electronic music of the 1990s as well as the late 80s. Anyway, let's go back to this Trance Europe Express Volume 4. You've also got Cold Cut, Nominal Aphasia. Now, going back to the 1990s, in 1994 when this came out, this was actually being advertised on HMV record shops' posters. HMV are only allowed to sell commercial music, or music that's legal. If we go back to the early 90s, which is 1992, they produced a series called Jungle Techno. Now that's jungle spelt normally, and techno spelt Tekno. When they released the Jungle Techno series, Jungle Techno was advertised on Our Price and HMV posters when it was being sold back in the day, when that's being advertised as commercial music in HMV. Although it's not commercial as in the charts, all this underground stuff like the Hard Leaders series, Jungle Business, which is released by Scratch Recordings, DJ Records, the Jungle Techno series, the drum and bass selections, that was all commercial stuff back in the 1990s. Even on radio stations, they were playing or advertising the Jungle Techno series, the Hard Leaders series, the drum and bass selections, and so on. Even Jungle Mania. Jungle Mania, believe it or not, I'll come to that in a minute, was actually in the top 100 album charts. But let's go to the drum and bass selections a minute. Now you've got underground tracks on those drum and bass selections. You've got tracks like Lickback Organisation, Maniac Music Lickback VIP Mix, where it has a sample in it which says, "It's a new dawn, a new dawn, new dawn. It's a new dawn, it's a new dawn, it's a new dawn." It can be mistaken as someone saying, "There's a new God, but it actually says "It's a new dawn." It's a sample taken from something. I can't remember what it is. And it's produced by Greg Samuel, who's the producer of Lickback Organisation that did that track, and then obviously got other good tracks on there. Ascend and Ultra Vibe, or Ascend and Ultra Vibe, What Kind of World, which is on Back to Basics, which I think is a sub-label of Moving Shadow, I'm not sure, which is a very commercial record label back in that day. Without commercial tracks. And if you look at Jungle Techno 5, you had Rough with a Smooth, Twisted Girl, Basement Records. Although it's only 5 minutes long on the actual CD version, on the cassette version you had the full 8-minute 11-second version, or the record you had that, but obviously because it's a CD they shortcut the tracks. I'm not exactly sure why they've done that. There's 2 tracks that they cut short on that Jungle Techno 5, the deep side. I think it's CD Top 20 is the catalogue number for that CD. That's Steve C and Monitor, the Razor's Edge on Skeleton Recordings, and obviously Rough with a Smooth, as I mentioned. Basically, when that was selling, it could be up to £20 in HMV, that Jungle Techno 5. I never had Jungle Techno 5 back in its day, and I never knew what it was, but I have some idea of some of the history about what was going on in the record shops. And even HMV and Our Price even had a section in the back of the shop where you could buy these live recordings like Fantasia, Dance Planet, Dreamscape, Dance Trance, Strictly Jungle, Fibre Optic, The Edge, you know, all the sort of old school rave mixes. Now, to be sold in HMV or Our Price, it has to go through some form of legalised music laws, basically, to be sold commercially. So obviously they managed to get around that, and obviously it's not the most commercial stuff, and it's probably the most underground music you can get, but it does surprise me that they had a section in some of these record shops where they were allowed to sell these types of mixes. I'm not quite sure how they got away with it, but it has made me wonder whether they're actually illegal or not. It's hard to say, because to be sold in a commercial place like a record shop like Our Price, HMV or whatever, it's got to be commercial to some extent. But I'll leave that one for you to decide, because I'm not sure myself when it comes to that one. Let's go to the Jungle Manias. You also had the Dance Manias, because I had Dance Mania 95. You had Cotton Eye Joe by Rednecks, which is a very good track. But you also had a load of other tracks like Strike You Shall Do and Entrance Set You Free. There's quite a lot of good stuff back in the 90s. And then obviously you had Dance to the Max, which had stuff like Clubhouse featuring Carl Light My Fire, and Real to Real, I Like to Move It, Move It. I Like to Move It, Move It. You Like to Move It. And then obviously you had, even on the Nows, like Now 28, you had Ace of Base, Don't Turn Around, and the Two Cowboys, Everybody Gone Be Gone, the Grid, Swamp Thing. You had quite a lot of interesting tracks that came out. Aswad, Shine Like a Star, Shining So Bright. You had some pretty interesting tracks that came out, especially in the 1993 to 1995 era. But let me just get to Jungle Mania a minute, yeah? Because Jungle Mania 2 has not only been advertised on television, but it's actually been sold in Woolworths and Sainsbury's supermarket. Back in the day it came out, and it's in the album charts in 1994, and it's the only Jungle album they've released with 8 exclusive chart hits that are on that specific Jungle album. But let's look at a couple of tracks that are on there, shall we? Fallen Angels, Hello Lover, DJ Hype remix, which I think is IQ Recordings. If you listen to that track, that's actually one of those restricted type of tracks. So even those restricted type of tracks, or like Dope Travelling Part 2 on Good Looking Records, which was released on Jungle Rhythms in 1994, and also Jungle Beats Volume 2 in Japan, and it's also been released on Fantasia Takes You Into the Jungle Volume 2. But if we go to Fantasia Takes You Into the Jungle Volume 2, that CD has been released commercially in 20 different countries, and it's a 3 CD set. And I'm going to give you the tracks that are on that CD, because if you look at it being that big, it amazes me that these tracks have had to be folded under. You'd think that they still have these tracks backed up on the international music database, sorry. Right, so you've got Mental Power, Unknown Intelligence on Formation Records, the original 1994 version, which is on the Control EP, because Cool and Sexy is another good track that's on there. And then you obviously got Dream Sequence, which is a good track, but I'm not so keen on that one. The other tracks you've got on there is like Codename John featuring Groove Rider, Dreams of Heaven, Shorty's Mix. You've also got Pesce, World of Music on Infrared Records. You've got Red One, Alive and Kicking, which is on Lifting Spirits Records. You've got The Influence, In My Soul, which is on, actually I'm not sure what the label is for that one. You had, what else? Let me just think a minute. Studio Pressure, Book of Changes, Appaloosa Unplugged, Chaos and Julia Set Remix. You also had FBD Project, Journeys, on Banging Tunes, which is produced by Neil Tricks. He's known as Neil Tricks more commonly to the name of FBD Project, and again that's a banging tune. So you have quite a few good tracks, and you just look how underground those types of tracks are that I've just mentioned. Those tracks are on that Fantasia Takes You Into the Jungle Volume 2, and that's been released commercially in 20 different countries. Yet today, that album's out the door for everybody, and it definitely won't be reissuing this type of music. And let's go back to Jungle Mania 2, Fallen Angels, Hello Lover, DJ Hype remix. That's one of those specialist tracks. It's very cultic sounding, and quite a scary track actually. I wouldn't say scary, but it's very, it sounds very cultic, very deep, very interesting. I wouldn't rate it as one of my favourites though. Although it's one of those types of tracks, it's one of those that you can take or leave. So it's, with me, it's that specific. But also you've got the House Crew, Superhero. And if we go to the Jungle Massives that were released in 1994, they were all in W.H. Smith's ordering catalogue, their catalogue ordering book, when they had an ordering book. It was mostly out of stock at the supplier, or no longer available, or deleted, or stuff like that. But they had everything in there. They had the Jungle Techno series in there. I knew what the Jungle Techno series was, but I wasn't, I wasn't sort of aware what music was on there at that time, so I couldn't buy it because I didn't know the tracks. So I was going for the Jungle Massives, and there was one, number 1 and 3 I actually ordered and managed to get from W.H. Smith's. Jungle Massive 2 was deleted, unfortunately, but you managed to get number 1 and 3. And I think there's, I don't think there was any others I actually got in W.H. Smith's, I'm not sure. Jungle Hits, which is on Street Tough Recordings. So I had a few CDs through my time, but today I don't have any of them, which is a shame. So, yeah. So you just need to look how commercial this is. And let's go back to the drum and bass selections. Drum and bass selection has actually been advertised on commercial television. Yet, all this music today, people are telling you that you've got to be hit off, or you've got to be smashed in, or you've got to be knife dead. People are saying it's dangerous, it's illegal, it's something wrong with the music, or they say it's all fucking brainwashing, or saying it's lunatic music or whatever. Well, why is that? Because going back in its day, this was all commercial. Let's look at BBC Radio 1. They were playing really underground jungle tracks in 1994 and 1995 after a certain time at night. Galaxy 101 had the Full Cycle show with Ronnie Size and DJ Cruss, and they're playing some, stuff that's restricted today. I mean, there's some more commercial stuff that comes out a little bit more commercial nowadays. You had Shadowboxing by Doc Scott, or which is better known as Nasty Habits. You had Shimon and Andy C Quest, or Andy C Roll On, and tracks like that. But, they actually made it through. They actually got through. But usually those types of tracks, they have a sort of problem with. But there's a few that have gone through, including Omni Trail Renegade Snares Foul Play Remix. That even got on K9 Energy Rush, and that's one of the biggest, most popular dance CDs of 1995. And it had M Beat Sweet Love on there, which is another, featuring Naslin, which is another jungle track. So it doesn't make sense why people are saying people got hit off if they listen to that sort of music. But if we go to the more regular tracks, back to Jungle Mania 2, you had the House Crew, Superhero on there, and Dead Bass, and Chimeria, or Crimeria, however it's pronounced, Deeper Life, which is the track that goes, Deeper Life. And you're thinking to yourself, well, if they can put those sorts of tracks on there in 1994, why have they done away with it today? Because Jungle Mania 2 has been in the album charts. And Jungle Mania 3. Jungle Mania 3, there's some tracks on there that are not ones they'd be happy about releasing today. Let's look at the last track to start with. More Rockers. They got it listed as You're Gonna Make Me. It's not actually You're Gonna Make Me. Smith and Mighty Mellow Mix. It is a Smith and Mighty Mellow Mix, I think. But I think the track's called I Need Some Lovin' by More Rockers. Either way, today you wouldn't see that on a commercial CD. And I don't know how it looks for the back catalogue, because obviously I don't know if they're actually allowed to take off tracks that were or take away albums that were released commercially back in those days. It's hard to say, but whatever's happening, what they're doing is they're trying to force everybody into the light-headed music, taking away the depth of sound in music, or to try and force people into the more reggae, shallower types of tracks. even Marvellous Kane dubplate style, which was on the Ultimate Jungle collection. You had Ronnie Size as a jazz thing, the Electric Boogie Mix. You had Family of Intelligence, a track called Champion of Champions. And obviously you had the more commercial tracks that were out at that time, like Dead Dread, Dread Bass, a helicopter tune by Deep Blue, and Omni Trio Renegade Snares Foul Play Remix. Even those tracks, what I just mentioned, those last three, they're doing away with those tracks completely. They won't let anybody at all have those tracks. So what is actually going on? What's causing it? What are they up to? Because, you know, it used to be commercial. Why release it in the first place if they need to fold it under later on? Because most of these tracks that I'm mentioning, when it comes to, even on like Fantasia Takes You Into the Jungle or whatever, let's take Pesce World of Music on Infrared Records for example, which was reissued in 2002, but when they reissued it in 2002, without Aim and Reprise being on the 12-inch, they made a boo-boo. Firstly, they used scratchy plastic material, so it's like cheap vinyl material, probably plastic rather than vinyl, because it's very scratchy. They sped the tempo up to its proper tempo, which was initially engineered by Hyperon Experience when it's put together, that track. And the other issue is, when you get the talking bits, I'm not exactly sure what it says, I don't think it's a British language, but it sounds like it says, the rugby, the sciences, submeridation, the sol-educated man and you who. Well, the two bits that says that, whatever it is, I'm not sure what it says, I'm just going by what it sounds like it's saying. But, they've put the, untidily, you know, like in a rapid way, they changed the channeling so it's into one speaker and then back into the other speaker on the reissue. But it gets even better. Let's get to the very commercial jungle track, shall we? The ones that you get on the jungle albums all the time in modern time. But before we get to that, I just remembered something. In 2013, they banned the Specialised track from going on the B-side of a record. So when they release a record, when it comes to commercially releasing any music, they're not allowed to put the underground track on the B-side of the record or the Specialised track on the other side of the record anymore. They've stopped all that as well. There's a couple of sub-record labels that are funded or whatever, where they're trying to get some of the tracks out. I mean, but it's very difficult. Night Force Records is trying their best to do this, but again, they're having troubles getting their stuff through the net, you know. And you know, when you're looking at these record companies, they've gone into like selling merchandise rather than music because they can't get any of their material reissued. And when it comes to, you know, record companies like Reinforced Records, which released the Enforcers series, which is a big series, which includes the Alliance First Impressions on it. You know, it's ridiculous. And there was quite a load of good tracks on that label. I mean, White House Records, Baby Kane did quite a load of good tracks as well. You know, all the stuff that was commercially released in the 90s, quite literally, nearly all of it, they can't even scrape up the original DATs anymore, which is the original recording source, to put these tracks together or to do anything really. So, you know, it's not good, is it? So the next thing I want to mention is there is a few tracks that escaped the net. Let's look at Square Pusher. In 1995 or 1996, he released an album called Feed Me Weird Things. So it's called Square Pusher, Feed Me Weird Things. Track 2, there's a track called Tundra on there, and that's one of those specialist tracks, one of those very dark underground jungle tracks basically. They didn't think of that, did they, when they reissued that specific album? So that one track remains safe. So you might get the very, very scarce track which escapes the net. But that's just a mistake they made. all in all, when it comes to this jungle stuff, all the underground stuff is all gone. Let's look at tracks that were big, that were on mixtapes back in his day, but are unheard of today. Making Ground, Take Me Higher, Ragga Mix. Rude Boy Recordings, which is a Photech record produced by Rupert Parks. The Anthill Mob, 123 Adrian Blunt remix, which is on Underdog Recordings. Again, that's a really good track, you know. It's quite an unusual track, that one, actually. I'll give you a bit of detail of that track. It sounds like a sort of, you know, the old-fashioned kitchens, or the old-fashioned way of cooking. It sort of makes that suggestion, that track. It's quite a good track. It's, you know, there's no need to actually get rid of these sorts of tracks, but I guess the thing is, you see, they're quite powerful tracks, you see, because your mind can read on the tracks, or read information in the tracks. A bit like telepathy, really, or if that's the right word to use, or like you can picture stuff in these types of tracks. But that was approved, you know, back in the 90s. All this was approved commercially as well. I mean, a lot of this. Let's look at Legend Records, Lee and Gwange, Too Deep, and Gwange and Spinback, The Execution. They're all commercial tracks, but you know, today they don't get a say. And the tracks that are being reissued are literally being taken from old records. They're not being taken from the original recording source, because all the original recording source of these records went in the days when the record companies went under. And the reason the record companies went under is because the government banned them from having that music. But there are still a few people, you know, a few tracks out there, a few albums or producers that are still alive that hold the original recordings to some of these underground tracks, but it's not many. But those who do have the recordings for those underground tracks, they're not allowed to reissue them. That's the problem. So quite literally about 99% of the jungle scene is gone. When it comes to the techno scene, they don't escape it either. When it comes to the underground techno, or the specialised techno stuff, the 1990s, all that's gone as well. When it comes to happy hardcore's a little bit more commercial. So I'm not quite sure how it would work with happy hardcore, but there's definitely going to be music from that sort of genre, where, because that's been released on Bonkers, and Bonkers has been, you know, in the mainstream. You know, I don't know if it's been in the charts, but I have seen it in like supermarkets, and I've, you know, seen it in places like Tesco's, Sainsbury's, Asda, and I've also seen it in places like HMV, Alprice, or whatever. But like I said, if we go back to 1994, Jungle Mania 2 was in Tesco's, Asda and Alprice. I'm not sure if they had them in Asda in that time, or Tesco's, I can't remember. But Sainsbury's definitely had it. They definitely had the Jungle Mania, because I've seen it in there. I've seen Jungle Mania 3 advertised on telly, but I'm pretty sure I might have seen Jungle Mania 2 advertised as well. I don't recall seeing Jungle Mania 1 advertised. I can't 100% remember if Jungle Mania 2 was advertised, but there's just a glitch where I thought I'd seen it advertised. But if so, when I saw the cover later on, it's likely if Jungle Mania 3's been advertised, number 2 would have been advertised. Because it's on Telstar Recordings, which is not a good label either, because Telstar is one of the biggest labels back in, you know, they were releasing tapes in the 70s, and Telstar Records only release commercial music. So think of that Fallen Angels, Hello Lover, DJ Hype remix when I mention this. And think of the House Crew, Superhero, My Night. Think of, you know, even Dino Entertainment, which did the album Love in the 60s, did the Ultimate Jungle Collection and the Ultimate Reggae Collection. Marvellous Kane, dubplate style. You name it, you name it. The Drum and Bass Selection Series, Breakdown Records, which is part of Suburban Bass Records, which is now True Players Records. They were advertising those drum and bass selections, they were 1, 2 and 3 in particular, in the Ultimate Jungle Collection CD and tape cover. Now to do that, it's got to be commercial. You know, so why do they need to get rid of it now? And why are people being told they need to be hit off if they listen to that type of music? You know, I could go on forever mentioning this type of thing. I mean, the Alliance, First Impressions, that's one of the darkest, eerie type of tracks that I've come across in the jungle scene. and makes the suggestion of bats flying around in a dark cellar, and it's quite cultic sounding. With the second part of that track, it has the same sample as what's used in Way Out West, A Gift, which is a commercial track released in 1996. And there's been many people that have mentioned that the second part of the Alliance First Impressions has that sample in it. You know, after 2 minutes 46 seconds through on the main chorus of the eerie part of the Alliance First Impressions. You know, it's one of those tracks, when it comes to the Alliance First Impressions, it's one of those tracks that sounds really rare groove, but it's actually quite a commercial track. So it sounds rarer, and it sounds more underground than what it really is, basically. And many people mistake it as Dark and Moody Volume 4 because of that eerie sounding start to the beginning of the track. Because a lot of people know the tracks, you know, how do I put it? You had a Dreamscape 8, which is a live recording, live event, a set, and Groove Rider used it in his 25-minute mix on Dreamscape 8, which is on the it's on the B side of the Clarkey mix on that 25-minute tape. So you've got techno on one side, and then you've got the jungle mix on the other side. With that Alliance First Impressions, because of the way Groove Rider's mixed in, merged other tracks in, or mixed other tracks in, it does actually sound like a very rare, underground, rare groove, dark, eerie type of track. But it's not really that underground. And a lot of people know that track, and a lot of people still like that track today. But whether they can reissue it, I do not know, because Total Science, who now own the track, are the only people that may still have the original recording. Now they still have the DATs to Q Project Champion sound, which is Jason Greenhaig or something like that, Paul Smith, and then obviously DJ Gwange, I believe, is Simon Matthews. Because Gwange, Q Project and Spinback basically form the Alliance, and it's the Alliance that did First Impressions and also did the remix of Q Project's Night Moves. And obviously did the Alliance also did the remix of Q Project Champion sound as well. So, you know, it's quite big. It's not as underground as you think, that Alliance First Impressions, because a lot of people think it's quite an underground track. But obviously they've gone into Total Science now, they're known as Total Science, the people that were known as the Alliance of Q Project or whatever. So, but you know, you had the Alliance remix of Gwange New Creation as well, which they did a reissue on Sublogical Recordings, but they went under because obviously they're not allowing people to have the underground tracks, and this is the problem. 7th Story Projects or Scientific Wax, they're having problems as well because it's getting through the legal stages. I mean, they're only releasing it on record, for goodness sake. They're not even allowed to release it on record these days either, you know. And a lot of people are saying that anyone listens to this sort of music has got to be shot dead, hit off or whatever. But this is only because rap music or other types of music that's commercial is twisting their mind, bending what they think, trying to get them out of that sort of music. And, you know, it works, you see. It works with those types of people. People don't give a fuck. They're small-minded, and a lot of people that are dry and sarcastic are stupid. They've got that one way of thinking, and they're just nasty pieces of shit. Most people that are sour, dry and sarcastic have always been like it. It comes from the snob accent. So those really high up snobs had this really shitty, snobby, shitty accent where they don't like you touching the hell. Oh, don't go near me, I've fucking had enough of it, get out of my way. It sort of branches on, and that really dry and sarcastic accent that goes back many years has merged with the modern society of rough accents. And obviously you've got the dry and sarcastic accent that's just formed and progressed because those types of people that were sort of like that are now becoming more popular. Although most of them might not be as rich as these types of people that are high up, they've all sort of linked in, they've got the same style of music, same life and way of life, and they've all sort of gone that way, and they've all had a sexual partner, enjoyed sex, were sexual, made a teenager pregnant, you know, or whatever, and they just turned out to be like that. So most people, 90% of people, have that accent in the UK. Right, today's a new day. Last night there wasn't really any problems back home. Today's been a mixture, mostly trying to stop me get pictures and to tell me that you're old and you're sick, and to tell me that basically knowing someone that's someone coming. Right, so how do I word it? Basically, if you just supposing you had a piggyback in a swimming pool or something like that by someone, the government classify that as sex and tell you that you're a sick cunt and you've had someone and going to rip you to fucking pieces and take your life fucking apart and stop you getting sex and you're a fucking sick bastard if you don't fancy your granny. And also making suggestions that I should be fucking people that raped me as a child, making it clear that that person's an adult and that's what you're supposed to fancy or you're a sick bastard. So they're going a bit corrupt, twisted and everything else. Timing over hanging trailers to rip my legs off from behind. It's going to sound bad when I say this, but it's not as bad as what it sounds, because most of it's mild, but there has been about 50 threats or remarks. All of it, in fact all of it's, most of it's mild, maybe one or two that's moderate, and that's just simple things like, I think the nastiest one was at a place called Mel's, which is a place I went to go back to take a picture of Gay Street signpost, which doesn't exist when I got there. I didn't do much there. Just took a picture of the Mel sign just to confirm was, and it's not the bestest looking thing, but there's nothing else I could do there. I tried taking a picture of a derelict building as well, like little, I don't know what you call it, shed thing, but wrong weather, wrong time of year. I wouldn't say the wrong weather, but it's a bit, this sort of weather is not so wet, you know, doesn't matter. I'll just quickly give you some idea of what sort of weather I'm actually into, because nobody really sort of knows, do they? I like most weather. So when it comes to snow, I can take it or leave it. It's okay for say 24 hours, but I don't like it if it's lasting for any longer than that. I don't like it when it turns to slush either. But it's nice in the process of when it starts to snow and the ground turns white. And maybe I may like it partly the next day, but after about a day it gets boring and tedious and it's not my thing. However, in recent times when it snowed, it has become blue skies, bright weather or sunny the following day, so that may be why I'm not too fond of it. But if it was to stay cloudy and snowy, then probably not too bad. But all in all, I'm not really keen on snow. I don't like heavy rain, and I don't like torrential rain. Light rain is okay, though I prefer drizzle or mist with sort of white or grey cloud. At night, I prefer dry nights with dry ground than wet ground. I don't like rain at night. I don't mind rain at night, but it does make everywhere look a bit more suppressing and depressing as if it is dry. In the daytime it doesn't sort of have that negative look. So if you look at dark water at night in a river or wet on the sea or whatever, it gives that sort of negative, sort of really dark, eerie sort of look. Or the ground sort of looks very depressing at night when it's wet. And I do prefer dry weather at night. In the day I do like dry weather if it's overcast, but or wet. I don't mind wet ground. Wet ground's good, but all in all, if I was to out of all weathers, I do like thunder and lightning. We don't get tornadoes in this country, but I'm not a fan of tornadoes. Like I said, I don't mind thunderstorms. bit confused on what I'm saying because there's a lot of traffic and trying to sort of speak at the same time while I'm being confused. Well, when it comes to sunny weather, I don't mind sunsets late in the evening or sunrise early in the morning, but I'm not really one for the sun, and I do prefer overcast mornings, or if it is a sunny dawn, then I prefer it if there's a lot of cloud around where it's covering the sun into the day rather than the sun being out, because obviously sun's not my sort of weather. If you've had, say, a month of cloudy, rainy weather or grey dull days, then it's nice to have a bit of sunshine peeking out here and there. So, but the problem is, with me, it's 365 days a year. It's taken away today, but even today we've had sunshine. In total we've had about, because it's actually quite a rainy day, we've only had about 45 minutes of sunshine. You have had quite a lot of open cloud as well, but it's been mostly pissing down with rain. And there was a torrential rainstorm that lasted about 25 minutes earlier on as well, so it's sort of, at the moment, it's heavy rain, the start of heavy rain, so you would get wet in it. So it's like, so you've got rain, so you've got like light rain, then you've got normal rain, then you've got normal rain that's gets a bit heavier to the heaviest stage of normal rain, and then it just goes into very heavy, which is the starting stages, which is at now. So it's not good. In the evenings, although I like sunsets, preferably with not much sunshine showing or none at all, but got the rays in the sky, with cloud covering it. I'm not keen, I'll tell you the weather I'm not keen on, to cut a long story short, because I'm getting confused what to say, because there's a lot of people passing in cars. I don't like sunny weather. I don't like blue skies and sunshine. I'm not that keen on bright days or part cloudy days either with a lot of sunshine. Actually, to be fair, I'm not really that keen on bright white cloud days either, because there's a different type of white cloud today. It's more like the 80s sort of sunny day, basically, because obviously the sun's brightened over the years. It used to be like an orange ball in the sky, yellow or whatever look to it. It wasn't a white, blistering white that is bright as anything. It's twice as bright as what it used to be, and it makes the weather look different today. So a white cloud day is probably out the door, because obviously today is actually heavy rain and grey, but because the sun is so bright these days, even on the wettest of days, it still looks like it's a white cloud day when it used to be grey. If you look at the winter sort of grey, literally grey means grey, not white. Today is white, with a tinge of grey in it. When they mean like grey back in the old day, they mean like lead and the stuff that goes in the pencil, whatever it is. I've forgotten the name of it. The the sort of grey. How do I put it? Have you seen the children's cartoon film, The Snowman? And look at the grey there when they put the grey in with the snow. That would be your normal sort of grey cloud day back in the 80s and early 90s, before weather changed and global warming caused the sun to become brighter when they ripped open the ozone layer. I'm not going to sound very good when I say this, but I'm going to have to get drenched just to take a picture, because the government won't stop it. The problem we have is as soon as the rain stops, it's sunny. It's stopping any overcast weather or drizzly weather. Even light rain is stopping that as well. The government are only causing it to be torrential, heavy fucking downpours where it's pissing it down, or sexual sunny weather. And they're opening the sky up, so straight after the rain finishes, there's no space, no time for like some overcast weather or grey cloud or whatever. It just turns completely sunny with blue skies, like every day. This is the problem. I can't take my pictures anymore, and I've got to get drenched to take a picture that I've got to retake, because what's happened is the rain's so fucking heavy that the picture I've taken has come out with all rain marks on it. Quite literally. The government is not fucking controlling the weather like a piece of shit. I mean, I like rain, yeah, but I don't like fucking heavy rain or torrential rain. And this is in the heavy stages, where it's heavier now. I'm literally, I can't, if I was to walk to the shop, which is what, about a minute and a half, I'd get completely drenched, because the government needs to make it heavy rain or sun. And since I've been here, they have been suggesting that it's going to be sunny. A lot of yellow cars, so... But, you know, just going to have to take it in the rain. There's no choice. Because we're back to sunshine after tomorrow. They claim it's going to be cloudy tomorrow, but every time they claim it's going to be cloudy, it's sunny. So you've got to do it while it's raining. That's the only time. And I'm not being funny, but even with this rain that's occurring now, there's patchy clouds in the sky where it's turning sunny in the distance, and blue skies that are occurring in between the rainstorms. Fucking potato head baskets in the fucking Downing Street because they want it sexual weather every day and sunny. They need to disperse the clouds and cause torrential rainstorms. I'm literally struggling to wait for the bus. I'm fucking fucked up and keep on jumping out the bus shelter just to stay dry. And I've got pictures to do yet. Quite a stupid community on the bus for teens. So
Alright, mate. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers, mate.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I can't get a fucking sale, write anything down because it's raining. But sexual motorbikes tied to my willy going up. But after that, I look like someone who sexually raped me as a child tied to an erection. And the government are laughing, go, oh, with stupid setups. And there's a load of black and blue stick, white, grey, white, knife shape, gun shape. Time of earth was smashing to me to knock me off. So the government just fucking give up its hand.